Hey guys, and welcome back. I am Andy, the self-help book junkie, and today we are starting a new series. The series that we are starting is called The Science of Getting Rich by Wallace Wattles. Where's my book? It's on my phone. Why is it on my phone? Because it is public domain. This was published back in 1910, so it's public domain right now. So you can get it on Project Gutenberg, download it to your Kindle or to your phone. Enjoy it with me, okay? But I still highly encourage you to get the book and not just follow my videos. Read the book for yourself, okay? So this book came to me by fortune because I was actually reading another book that I was gonna start on, but I was just not happy with it. I wasn't connecting with it. It didn't call to me. But everybody was telling me that this was such a great book that I should read it, and I just wasn't connecting with it. So I decided, let me just keep reading and see what happens. When this book came into my life, and this book, wow, you can even listen to it on YouTube because it's free. Not only have I listened to it 3 times already, but I got the book from Project Gutenberg so that I could actually read the book too, because there are some differences in what is in the Project Gutenberg version versus what you can find on YouTube. So I was like, oh, let me just go to the source and see what happened. You know, there's actually a little interesting fact. So on the front of the book, it actually says that it was sold for $1, and this was back in 1910, right? So I went to the Department of Labor Statistics website, and they said that in today's money is about $35. So this wasn't a cheap book by any means, but it was like, okay, it's $1. That's crazy. 1910 money and today money is very different. As always, I'm going to go through the book and share with you guys some of the little nuggets that I find. Let's jump right in, okay? The first part's actually in the preface. It says, this book is pragmatical, not philosophical, a practical manual, not a treatise upon theories. It is intended for the men and women whose most pressing need is for money, who wish to get rich first and philosophize afterwards. It is for those who have so far found neither the time, the means, nor the opportunity to go deeply into the study of metaphysics, but who want results and who are willing to take the conclusions of science as basis for action, without going into all the processes by which those conclusions were reached. This is the first time I have ever read a book that started out by saying, we're not going to tell you why we figured out that this works. We're just going to tell you what works and you just have to trust us. Like, that was very startling to read from the very beginning, because whenever I've read any self-help books, it's always been like, this is the theory, now let's dig into how we came upon it, why we believe this is real, and practical applications. That's just been like the flow of all of the books that I have ever read in self-help up until now. So then saying you just kind of have to take our word for it is startling. However, I do want to say that the information in the book is what other books are telling you. It is the things that other books show you how to cultivate and develop a mindset of abundance. So it's not that it's wrong, but it's just like, we're not in the business of trying to explain to you what it is. They go so far as to say, hey, you know, a lot of this stuff is based on the writings of these authors. If you want to find out more about how we came to these conclusions, read their stuff. Go do that. Like, don't come to us. We just are going to give you the instructions. So this is really an instruction manual, and that it kind of just like sings to me a little bit. Like, I love going into history and going into philosophizing and deducing what it is from this happens this, and this is why I believe in like the spirituality behind it and the psychology behind it. Like, I love all of that stuff. But this was like, no, we're just going to give you the instructions. Just do it or don't do it. That's on you. And that like blew me away. Okay, you're not going to explain to me why it works or what your theories are or how you came about it. Like, you're not going to waste my time with that. And it's not that it's a waste of the time. Oftentimes, we want books to be bigger. We want books to have the information, but we want, oh, like, who are you to be the authority on this? Prove to me that you are an authority in this field so that I can trust the words that are being printed. Lead me through the steps of how you came to this conclusion so that I might follow along, so that maybe I'm along on that journey and I can take those steps too. But this one is like a cut and dry, this is what it is, take it or leave it. We're not gonna spend the time to explain or expound or, philosophize, theorize, or any of that stuff. One of the biggest issues that I would take away from this is, how did just people go about and trust it? Because I feel like self-help and these kind of books, like now, there's tens of thousands of self-help books, right? This was back in 1910, which I would imagine that there weren't many like this. There are a lot of stuff that promised you to get rich. There was a lot of promises of health and well-being. There was a lot of promises of, and he even says in the book that a lot of this stuff is based off of Hindu teachings, that stuff that came from across the sea. Back then, were people reaching out to the other side of the world for this information in America in 1910? I don't think so. So this person was like, hey, I'm taking these teachings and I'm just gonna tell you what to do. Just trust me, bro. That's a big leap of faith. I'm assuming, and I'm probably right in my assumption, that he followed his own steps. And because he followed his own steps, he was successful in getting this book published and sold. And if that in and of itself isn't its own proof of success, then what is? And so this leads me to the conclusion that this guy is kind of like a no BS kind of guy, and I love that about this book. Very much like, this is what it is, take it or leave it, let's just keep going. That's my philosophy on life. I don't need all the fluff, and I don't need all that stuff. It's nice. I like learning about people's history. I like learning about people's journey and case studies and other people who it worked for and the stories behind it, that it worked and that, this is what happened and these miracles came about. Yeah, I love that because I'm just a nosy Nelly. Other side of that is just give me the information. Just tell me what to do. I don't know if this is gonna make me rich. I'll get back to you on it. What I do know is that so far, it's the first paragraph of the preface and it already hooked me. I mean, when I heard that, I was like, oh, this is interesting. And that's why I've read it 3 times already. And I'm on now reading it in the book. Okay, you guys, I'm going to put a link to Project Gutenberg where you can download this book for free, add it to your Kindle, add it to your playbooks, or figure out which reading app on your phone it is that you want to use. I'm also going to put a link to my podcast. I'm also going to put a link to my book, which is about journaling, because journaling has been pivotal in my own journey, and I think you guys can benefit from it. I'm so glad you guys are on this journey with me. Bye!